According to reports, North Korean Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un's health is deteriorating, as claimed by a former aide to South Korea's late president, Kim Dae-jung. According to Chang Song-min, the North Korean leader is in a coma. His sister, Kim Yo-jong, has been recognized as second in command within North Korea's power structure. She has been reportedly given the authority of managing relations with the United States and South Korea. As per Chang, the power restructuring does not make Kim Yo-jong the successor to Kim Jong-un. Chang said that no North Korean leader would give power to another person unless he was too sick to rule or was removed through a coup. He reiterated that Kim Jong-un is bedridden and unable to rule. On Friday, Seoul spy agency had a closed-door meeting with lawmakers. Reports suggest that a new ruling system set up by Kim Jong-un was discussed. The National Intelligence Agency says that the meeting does not appear to be linked to his health.
In the region, the Hezbollah terror group says it's downed and seized an Israeli drone as it flew over the Lebanese border on Saturday. The Israeli military confirming only that a drone had fallen in Lebanon during operational activity along that northern border, adding there is no risk of breach of information. Hezbollah said its fighters downed the drone near the town of Aita al-Sha'ab.
The tensions between India and China, with diplomatic talks underway to resolve the India-China border conflict. India has now rejected China's suggestion to disengage equidistantly from the finger area in Ladakh. According to sources, the Chinese side has made a suggestion for both countries to go back equidistantly from the finger four area. But India has outrightly rejected this suggestion. In fact, according to sources, accepting this suggestion was out of the question for the Indian side. According to reports, the Chinese side is positioned around the Finger 5 area near the Pangong Tso Lake currently. Reports have also suggested that China has deployed a large number of troops and equipment at the 5-kilometer stretch from Finger 5 to Finger 8. The Chief of Defence Staff in India, Bipin Rawat, has now said that military options to deal with transgression by the Chinese army in Ladakh are on, but it will be exercised only if talks at the military and the diplomatic level fail.
After a week of threats coming from Lukashenko, this is a reply from the people of Belarus. Tens of thousands took to the streets of Minsk in defiance, their fear replaced by anger, while armed soldiers and police were standing by. Meanwhile, all Soviet music is coming from the government's loudspeakers, along with orders to stop the unofficial gathering. Since the disputed presidential vote on August 9, protesters have been defying the authorities by gathering every day, calling for an end to President Lukashenko's 26-year rule. When tens of thousands marched towards Lukashenko's residence, armed police blocked the road. In what looked like a scene from a war movie, Lukashenko was filmed flying over the city in a helicopter, wearing an armed vest, together with his 15-year-old son in combat gear. Then the president emerged from the helicopter carrying a rifle.
He murdered 51 people when he launched a shooting attack on 2 mosques in Christchurch last year. And today the sentencing hearing for Australian Brenton Tarrant began. A heavy security presence, including snipers and police patrols, surrounded the court. The Crown prosecutor detailing how the 29-year-old had spent years meticulously preparing for his attacks.
Let's now shift our attention to Syria, where a possible attack on a pipeline has caused a nationwide blackout overnight. According to the Syrian news agency Sana, an explosion at a gas pipeline between Ad Dumer and Adra, northwest of the capital Damascus, led to a complete blackout on the night of August 23rd. Visuals from the local media show the massive fire in the Arab gas pipeline system that extends from Egypt into Jordan and Syria. A team of firefighters and emergency services personnel were rushed to the spot to douse the ravaging fire and clear the debris caused by the massive fire. The electricity minister said that the power stations were eventually reconnected to provide power to vital infrastructure of the country.
That massive explosion in the port of Corpus Christi. 4 men missing, 6 others severely injured after that devastating blast that was felt for miles around 8 o'clock this morning. But first, here's a breakdown of the facts. The fire started just after 8 this morning. The blast causing devastating consequences for at least 19 employees working 2 barges. Take a look at this video shot by photographer Michael James. You'll see how high the flames were reaching. Viewers told us they could see them from as far away as I-37 past the Nueces River. We now know what caused the explosion. Investigators say a barge with dredging equipment somehow hit a propane pipeline, causing the massive explosion and igniting flames.
Peru has been one of the countries in Latin America worst hit by the coronavirus pandemic, and now this. Dead and injured, grieving relatives, and confusion. Neighbours had called police to report a party, organised via social media and in contravention of Peru's emergency curfew to try to limit the spread of the coronavirus.
We entered, and we were taken by surprise that it was not 30 people, but more than 100.
The police version is that when they arrived at the Thomas Restobar in Los Olivos neighbourhood to break up the illegal gathering, the crowd rushed for the only exit. Trapped in a narrow stairwell, they were crushed or asphyxiated.
In this police operation, no firearm or tear gas was used. I've seen information circulating on social media that unfortunately misinforms society.
They came in their thousands to denounce sexual violence against women. The alleged gang rape of a 16-year-old girl in a Red Sea resort has shocked the country and galvanized these protesters who are demanding justice, but also a deeper change in attitudes towards rape. It was in this hotel in the seaside town of Eilat that the teenage girl was allegedly gang raped. As many as 30 men are said to have lined up to abuse the 16-year-old, although police debate this number. So far, around a dozen people have been arrested as authorities continue their investigation into the act Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has called a crime against humanity. For the victim, the torment is ongoing. Her personal details have been circulated on social media, as has a video taken during the attack.
Portland police said they arrested 14 people overnight following violent clashes between rival groups of demonstrators that roiled the city's downtown area earlier in the day.
You can change. You don't have to do this.
Police said they declared a riot just before midnight on Saturday after a group of about 250 people tried to march on a government building that has often been the scene of violence during nearly 3 months of nightly protests. Earlier on Saturday, there were scuffles in downtown Portland between anti-racism protesters and right-wing demonstrators. Participants clad in body armor and helmets traded punches and blasts of pepper spray as police officers mostly looked on, according to video of the clashes.
We know that ice is melting as the world gets warmer. But new data shows it's happening more quickly than even scientists feared. Since 1994, 3 UK universities have been tracking ice levels using satellite images of the planet's poles, mountains and glaciers, and they've described their results as staggering. This is the first time anyone has looked at all the ice that is disappearing across the world. It's estimated 28 trillion tonnes of ice has been lost in less than 30 years. To put that into context, that would be enough to cover the entire United Kingdom in a sheet of ice 100 metres or 328 feet thick.